season.
Yeah, he's a great story, and certainly a lot of kudos to this coaching staff, to this front office for not only having an eye for Edwards, but also being able to develop him just in a short amount of time to make him a fit for this defense. Really exciting. And here you go, more of the linebacking core coming together. It's going to be a really different unit than we saw for this team last year.
No question. And Zac Brown going up against his former team, obviously signed away from the Washington Redskins this offseason and will be listed as a starter here today. As you know, with Kamu Grugier-Hill out of the lineup, the Eagles have a couple linebackers that they're rotating in. But look, this defense going up against Washington, it's going to come down to stopping the run first. I mean, that's going to be the most important thing against Darius Geis and this rushing attack from the Washington Redskins. Rodney McLeod obviously going to be a big part of that. Played in one preseason game this summer, kind of coming off that injury, able to get his sea legs back under him. And we'll take a look here at the starting lineups on defense.
There's a guy, Rodney McLeod, who's super excited to be back on the field again. I know it's been a long time since he's seen regular season action. This is a stacked Philadelphia defense. Here are the starters. Zac Brown making his way into the starting lineup. Some new faces, some old faces. What stands out to you here?
Number one, I'm so excited for Malik Jackson, number 97, just getting him next to Fletcher Cox, who is healthy, getting his first live action of the summer. And then we also see Avonte Maddox listed as the second starter at cornerback alongside Ronald Darby. We didn't know exactly what that cornerback rotation would look like. Excited to see how those guys are all deployed here today, because you've got obviously Sidney Jones, you've got Rasul Douglas. How all those guys mix and match here in the secondary will be a lot of fun to watch here against a very young and inexperienced receiving core for Washington.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot to watch there in that matchup. And here you go with your boy Avonte Maddox, who just continues to blossom and develop. He's talked about heading into this season how he's feeling more confident than ever, having yet another year under his belt. And he's a guy to me that has a big chance to make a really big jump in his game this season.
Yeah, and I think when you look at Avonte Maddox, a guy that showed that he's got the versatility to line up anywhere in that secondary, and you could say the same thing about Sidney Jones. He hasn't played safety in games like how Avonte Maddox did, but much like Maddox, Sidney has played inside, he's played outside. This was a first round talent. Last year was really his rookie year, Amy. When you look at coming off that injury that he suffered at his pro day, this last year was his real rookie year. Excited to see what he puts on film here today.
All right, we know who's starting on defense. What about on offense? Obviously, Jason Peters, the bodyguard. We know he's going to be in that starting lineup. Carson Wentz, good to see him back in the starting lineup as well. A lot jumps out to me about this list here, Fran, but Brandon Brooks, man, I cannot believe he is starting today after tearing his Achilles in the last game that he played. It really is remarkable what he's done to recover from that. And of course, Miles Sanders, the rookie, in the starting lineup, his first game.
I'm excited to see how Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard as well, both of these running backs, how they just kind of fit in to this Eagles offense, how they're used. I can't wait to see Miles, especially when you talk about all the different personnel groupings. This whole team is fired up. This is really awesome just for us to be able to go over and see how this group is coming together before their first game. It's just a really good feeling about this team, right? I mean, obviously you had the Super Bowl 2 seasons ago, but you feel really good about this team and where they're at, both mentally and physically. Guys coming back healthy. You mentioned Brandon Brooks, superhuman, coming back 8 months later off the Achilles injury. Really, really excited just to see this team take the field here in a few minutes.
Yeah, his recovery is remarkable, and just the fact that so many of these guys are healthy. They have almost everybody healthy and ready to go, which has not been the case in seasons past. And you just talking to guys throughout the preseason, throughout training camp, just how they feel like this is going to be, that they have a sense that this is going to be a special team, and that you start to get those feelings in OTAs, you start to get it in training camp in the preseason. And while it's really unknown what they have, they still kind of know what they have. And so there's kind of that dichotomy there. But guys are really excited. You can really feel the energy, and just the fact that there's the health there is a huge thing. It can't be overstated.
Yeah, and it's not a false bravado, right? Because you hear so often from teams all around the league, we've never been more talented than we are right now. We're in the best shape of our career that we are at this point in time. But, the Eagles know not only do they have a lot of talent, but they also have a lot to prove. Just because you have a lot of talent does not mean that you're going to go to the Super Bowl. And in order to get back to where they got 2 seasons ago, they need to come together as a team. They need to play well, situational football, everything that comes down down to it. They need to win in all three phases of the game. The Eagles know that. So this isn't just, hey, banging our chest saying we're so talented. Now they've got to go back it up, and it all starts here in week 1 against a division rival. Well,
it's certainly a team that is quite familiar with the Eagles, and they know that everybody is going to be getting their best effort, a target on their back. Let's head over to Lincoln Financial, the Eagles insider Dave Spadaro, for his storylines for Game 1 for the Eagles. Let's check it out.
It may sound trite, but I think for the Eagles, it's really important to start fast. It's been a theme for head coach Doug Peterson all summer. The Eagles in 2017 scored 106 points in the first quarter of games. That ranked 3rd in the NFL. Last year, just 41 points in the first quarter, 31st in the league. So whatever they do today, now we all know Carson Wentz didn't play in the preseason. What do they do to get him into a sync, get this offense going early, and make the Redskins, a fairly punchless team, play from behind? Look for some Deshaun Jackson involvement early, but the key is getting Wentz into a rhythm and eliminating all of the pre-snap penalties and the mistakes that plagued the Eagles last year early in games. Back to you.
Absolutely nailed it there from Dave. Something that the coaching staff has been talking about. Doug Peterson has emphasized those fast starts, an area of focus for this team. And one of the things that they did not do well last year, and 2 seasons ago, it was kind of the identity of this Eagles offense. Fran, they certainly have the personnel to do it and that focus to get started fast and to not have those mental mistakes. I think it's going to be something to watch today.
Yeah, and I think we talked about it at the very top, about situational football. And ultimately, it comes down to not just third down or the red zone or backed up or down in the goal line, but also starting fast and coming out in the second half and starting fast, closing games out. Those are all goes under that umbrella of situational football. The Eagles want to be able to start fast. You go back to week 1, 2017, I believe it was 3 touchdowns on their first 3 series for this Eagles offense. We don't necessarily need them to start that fast here today, but just get things going in the right direction against a divisional foe. It's always, always important.
Yeah, I won't be mad if they start that fast, so I know Eagles fans won't be mad about that as well. Yes, of course, the hallmark of that team that did go on to win the Super Bowl, so an obvious thing that Doug Peterson wants to get back to with this team. Let's check in with our guys Mike Quick and Merrill Reese for their players to watch in this game. Take it away, guys.
Real football. It is finally here, and I can't wait. Mr. Quick, who is your player to watch?
My player to watch is Carson Wentz. He is the leading man in this cast, and he hasn't played since that Dallas game last year, didn't play in the preseason, so I think it's obvious that we have to pay special attention to Carson Wentz and see if the rust is there from not playing.
There are a whole lot of players to watch in this game. I mean, you focus on Brandon Brooks, who's coming back from the Achilles. So many game stories. But the guy that I cannot wait to see, we have missed him so much for so long, number 10, Deshaun Jackson, waiting for that first burst downfield, and Carson Wentz lets loose with a bomb.
By the numbers, number 10, number 11.
That's it. Back to you, Amy.
So 2 players there that I'm very excited to see, both for different reasons. When you talk about Carson Wentz, just the offseason that he's had, recovering from the injury, and of course that stigma of he hasn't played that full season. And so is his body going to stay healthy? He's made that an emphasis for him. He's gotten healthy. He's changed his diet. He's changed his body. He's looking super lean, super fit. So a lot to watch from him as well. And for me, as a newer Eagles fan, last season, my first season with the team.
Sure.
I'm super pumped to see Deshaun Jackson. I know that he is beloved here in Philadelphia, and that from what I can tell around town and from in the locker room, that it feels so right for everybody to have him back. I'm new to that party, and so I'm especially excited to see what he's going to bring to this offense. So I echo everything those 2 guys said, Fran.
Yeah, it was fun talking with some Eagles fans walking over here, people that were already out tailgating, and they were able to bust out the number 10 jerseys, and a lot of people are excited for Deshaun Jackson to be back. But remember, it's not just about Deshaun. It's also about all the other weapons in this Eagles offense. You bring in a guy like Miles Sanders, another one in Jordan Howard. You factor in a second year from Dallas Goedert. This is going to be a really fun group of pass catchers and offensive weapons for this Eagles offense. And you factor in all those guys in together. It's going to be tough from a fantasy football standpoint, but it's going to be a lot of fun to watch on Sundays.
Of course, and many people excited to see this game. Perhaps Charles Davis, Fox's NFL analyst who is calling this game, one of the most excited. He sat down with our Eagles insider Dave Spadaro earlier in the week to preview this matchup between 2 NFC East rivals. Check it out.
Charles, we've got 2 NFC East rivals going at it here. What do you expect in the opening week when 2 teams don't really know about each other?
Yeah, the unexpected, right, Dave? You've seen this for how many years now, right? We've been lucky enough to be a part of this league, and every time we think we have it figured out, we walk out of a stadium and go, well, didn't have that figured out. But the beauty is, within divisions, and the coaches stay the same, personalities tend to form on teams. And with Jay Gruden, he's going to want to run the football. Now he's got Darius Geis back healthy. He had Adrian Peterson last year. He wants a big hulking offensive line that'll move people to the line of scrimmage. Well, he doesn't have everyone because Trent Williams is not likely to play. And then he's going to want to throw it off and play action. But he has a quarterback in Case Keenum who can do all of those things, but he also can add his own legs to the running attack. And then when you flip it over defensively, I love their defensive front. I mean, those are the Alabama gang and what they do. And Landon Collins being added to the back end, that'll make things a little interesting because not only will he continue to smack people, but you and I both know that Landon Collins burns to show people that he can cover.
Yeah.
And I saw more of that in the preseason from him. So all of it going together, a season opener, a division game, yeah, this is not going to be what I hear the odds makers are calling it. I think a much closer game.
Your expectations of an offense for the Eagles that adds Deshaun Jackson, adds Jordan Howard, adds Miles Sanders, very explosive players.
Very much so, but the biggest part, Dave, is healthy. You know, this team is going to be healthy. You know, Sayamolo, Isaac played a lot last year. Kelsey, of course, anchors it. That offensive line is terrific. Now, as you said, you add in the extra weapons. They can be explosive. And I think that the head coach, Doug Peterson, now can call the game the way he wants to call it as opposed to calling it to protect when guys were hurt and not available. This is going to be fun. Seeing Sanders get out of the gate, I think they're going to get Deshaun Jackson involved early. I think it's a smart move with a guy like that. Get him involved early, and it doesn't have to be a deep ball either.
Charles, thanks so much and have a great broadcast.
Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Truly one of the best in the business there in Charles Davis, who, Fran, I think put it perfectly, and Eagles fans should be very excited when he said, look, this team is healthy. Doug Peterson can call the game that he wants to call because of the talent and because of the health of these players. That should just have everybody, tingly and very excited. Yeah. I got the butterflies about that one.
Yeah, and exactly. And I don't want to keep banging this drum, but I think you could say the same thing. Really, when you talk about the Eagles with both of these tight ends, Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert on the field together. And when you look back at this matchup, we talked about this this past week on Eagles game plan, Amy. When you look back at the last two games between these two teams last season, 37 times the Eagles lined up with Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert on the field at the same time. On 2/3 of those snaps, the Redskins kept all three linebackers out in the field, so they stayed in their base. And so if you want a little matchup to watch today, I would look at both of those tight ends. How are they able to get them matched up on linebackers or safeties? And also, who's going to match up to the wide receivers in those scenarios? That's going to be one of the big factors for me in this game.
Well, Charles Davis said closer than the experts think. I hope not, but we'll see. We'll see what if that expert, how close he was there. We're going to take a quick break. We will, of course, have the team taking the field live later in the show. Coming up after this break, Mike Quick goes one-on-one with RB1, rookie running back Miles Sanders. We'll see you on the other side of this commercial break.